Welcome to learning on manual testing. So today we are going to learn about interview questions in manual testing. This is the second part. In first part, we have learned the uh, first 10 interview questions. So come to the second part. So the 11th question will be, what is meant by Sdlc? So actually, whenever dealing with Sdlc, we have to know what about Sdlc. Sdlc is nothing but it is a software testing life cycle. So which means we deals with the testing related activities. So Sdlc means software testing life cycle. And the definition of Sdlc is nothing but it contains the testing related activities. So nothing but is a testing model is a testing model that processes sorry a purpose of a process that process to understand sorry just a minute. Okay, to understand what we need to understand what user needs, right? That means nothing but to understand the to understand sorry to understand test requirements from the customers. Test requirements obvious, which will use it to first of all you will write the test scenarios, test cases, later we'll have test execution of the application and sorry text behind test closer activities. So these are the things we'll do in Sdlc. Sdlc nothing but it is a testing model that process to understand. First of all, we'll try to understand what user needs. Depending upon user need, we'll write or prepare test scenario test cases. Later, we'll execute the application and we'll provide the test activities. So these are SDLC, software testing life cycle. So there is a life cycle. Whenever the test closure happens, we'll have new requirements and then this again cycle will starts. So this is what software testing life cycle. So the next one is, okay, what are the, what I can tell you, okay, what it contains, what activities Sdlc contains. So I give you like interview questions as per the topic wise. So that's why we are only focusing Sdlc part only. Obviously, we have no first one is we will have test requirements, which means requirement analysis. We need to analyze what is the user needs. Later, we'll start preparing the test planning activities. Prepare the planning activities of the testing. I need to start my testing, what needs to be tested, I need to test, and where I need to test, and what are the components I need to test. So all those things will be in test planning. Okay, nothing but test case preparation. Nothing but preparation of test case and test scenarios here. Later we'll have obvious. We'll create an environment to check the application. Whenever you create the environment, we need to test execute the application, test execution. Obvious, last one will be that whenever my testing has been, my test process is completed, I will close my activities, which means test closer activities. So these are the activities which involve Sdlc. Okay, next is what is meant by interview point of very important RTM. First of all, we have to know what RTM. RTM stands for requirement traceability matrix, which is nothing but it is a matrix format which contains requirements and requirement tracing something, right? That's something nothing but test cases. So requirements are tracing the test cases, nothing but requirement trace matrix. So is used to trace the requirements to the tests, that are needed to verify. So this is nothing but RTM. So here we are linking or tracing or mapping the requirement to the corresponding test cases. So that's nothing but requirement trace matrix. The next one is the 14th one. What will take? Okay. What is meant by entry criteria? Sometimes they may ask this question also. Whenever you feel your expertise, or entry criteria. So nothing but there is an entry point, right? Entry criteria is nothing but it is what I can tell you. It is the input to the whenever we start any process in SDLC. So what I told, it is a input or it is an entry or it is a criteria requirement. It's a criteria requirement which must be met before initiating my project. Sorry for spelling mistake. Before initiating a specific task. The specific task can be anything. Okay, in SDLC. So let's give small example. I think I've given realistic example in the online class. But so whenever we deal with test planning, right? So what is the input here? I whenever my enter requirement analysis completed, then now I'll go for test planning, right? So the output of the test requirement analysis will consider as the input to the test planning. So this is nothing but entry criteria. What is the entry criteria for test planning? Is nothing but the output of the requirement analysis will consider as the input or entry to the test planning. So this is nothing but this entry criteria. Okay, let's go to the 15th question. What is meant by exit criteria? Same. Let me copy paste this one and small modifications. Sorry. Let me copy paste this and paste it here. So it is nothing but it is a criteria requirement must be met before completing a specific task. So initiation, right? Initiating, okay, before completing a specific task. So whenever let us consider I am at test execution, right? Execution. Whenever I am in test execution phase, whenever I complete and going to complete the test execution, I need to prepare, I need to give the exit criteria saying that yes, my test execution is proper. So I'm giving a criteria saying that my test execution is proper, so you can start test closure activities. Nothing but input is entry criteria for any phase, and the output from the any phase is nothing but the exit criteria. So this is nothing but the difference between entry criteria and exit criteria. Okay. The next question, sorry. And the 16th question will be what I can write. What is meant by test plan? Oh, good question. We'll write what is meant by test plan. So it's a very good question and important interview point of view, very important. Test plan nothing but the planning activities. So what I can write, it is a document that describes the project related activities, which means how many people we require for the project, how much time it will take, what are the scopes you need to consider, what are the approach we have done, what are the focus we have to doing. All those things will be included in this test plan. So test plan is a document that describes that describes the objectives, scopes in the project, what I need to consider, what I doesn't need to consider, scopes of the project, uh, and approaches, focus and efforts, risks in the project, human resources, timelines. Like that, we have n number of things. Okay, time schedules and etc. So these are all information this test plan contains. Okay, now the next one is okay. We'll jump into what we'll do. I think here any questions? No, no, right? What is meant by? We'll jump into SDLC. SDLC. As of now, we know SDLC is nothing but it describes about the testing related activities or the test process we do in SDLC. Come to SDLC. SDLC stands for. Let me write. Stands for, many people know, software development life cycle. And what I meant is software development life cycle, which is nothing but we are going to develop the product. So in SDLC, I'm only dealing with test related activities, but where in SDLC, I'm dealing with it, the development of the product, the development of the software, which means it contains all the team members. Directly or indirectly, I can say that SDLC contains all the team members, not only testing team, not only development team, not only UAT team, not only supporting team, not only stakeholders. All the people who are involved in the project will be a part in SDLC. So SDLC is nothing but it is a software project. It is a process, obvious, will write process user to define what user is need. Next, design what user is going to expect. Next, develop the product and deliver the product. See, develop and deliver a quality product to the customers. That's it. So first of all, if you see these terms, define, designing, development, all the things will be on defining nothing but manager will define what we need to do. Now we'll do designing, architecture design of system, how system has to be built. Something like after that we'll do develop, nothing but we'll write the code. Later I will check the product as a QA point of view. So nothing but from the starting to ending point, we are going to deal about the project. So this is nothing but SDLC. Come to what SDLC contains. We know the contents in SDLC, right? Test requirement, test planning, test case designing, and environment setup, and test execution, test closer activities. Same like what SDLC contains. What SDLC contains. For that, SDLC contains, first one is system planning, system defining, system designing, and implementation of the project. Implementation. Next is system testing. This is the testing part. And maintenance of the product. So these are the different contents, contents or phases, we'll call it as. So these are the things we'll have in SDLC. Okay, come to 19th one. Right now we are in SDLC, right? Now we will write what are the types in SDLC. So point to remember, there is no types in SDLC. Only we have types in SDLC. SDLC we have parts types, right? Waterfall model. Next is V model. Okay. The next is iterative model. Next is spiral model. Next is Big Bang model. Next will be Agile model, and etc. So we have like this. We have n number of types in SDLC. Depending upon the requirements, we need to implement the SDLC. But in real world, many people use Agile. So well-known model with the waterfall. Waterfall will be known by every IT resources, and Agile is using in the modern times. Okay, next is the last one. Oh, sorry, last one, not last one. Let's see. What is meant by, good question, very important, meant by Agile. So Agile is nothing but in the dictionary meaning, Agile is nothing but moving in a effective manner, moving in a shortcut where we deliver the project in very effective way. So this is nothing but Agile. So I will write a descriptive definition of Agile methodology. Agile methodology is the most significant important model approach to project management. See, every line is very important here. To the project management, which is effectively implemented or used or developed or deployed, anything used in the process of Sdlc. So I'll write another one. So what I can do? Okay, and it overcomes the disadvantage. It overcomes all disadvantages. All disadvantages in other models. So what are the disadvantages? Waterfall, V model, other models will be anything. So what are the disadvantages in all those models? It can be overcome. So come to the benefits. Benefits in Agile. So this extra information only. The first one, the benefit will be ensure easy and quality deliverables. Will ensure, or we can give guarantee, ensure quality we can ensure quality deliverables, and it can be used for if any new requirement come, it can take and we can implement this one. So addresses any changes within the project. And many things are there. Ensures high quality development breaker, and what can I write? Okay. Closely interact with customers. So these are n number of benefits when we use the agile model. Okay, now the next question is, what are the phases in Scrum methodology? So Agile have different types in Agile. We have Scrum methodologies, Kanban, like that. We have a number of things, but right now I'll give only focusing only Scrum, because in interview also many people ask Scrum only. So what are the phases which generally see in Scrum? The first phase is product backlog. Okay, the next one is sprint backlog. Sometimes we call it as sprint planning also. Next is Scrum meetings. Right now, many people will call it as daily stand-up class, but no problem. Scrum meetings. The next one is demonstrations. Whenever the testing team completes their activities, right, we need to demonstrate what we have done. The last one is we'll call it as retrospective meetings. So it is very important. Okay. Important interview question. Okay. So these are the phases which Agile contains. Okay. The second one is, so in Agile we have different members. Those members we call it as product owner, Scrum master, Scrum team, Dev team, or creative, something like we call it as, right? Okay. So in that, let's see what are the roles and responsibilities of the individuals. First one is, what are the roles of product? Just a minute. Roles of product owner. First one is called as product owner. Now let's see what are the different roles of product owner. First one is, he need to define, or he or she need to define what user needs, define the requirements, and prioritize the values. So the second one is to determine, just 1 minute. Okay. Okay. Next one is determine the release dates and all those things. Okay. Unmute myself. Continue without audio. I've done 1 minute, right? Is working? Okay. Now next is define the release dates and the contents of the user stories. And he is a representative of product to the customers. Representative, the voice of the customer. Sometimes you will call it as, you can consider it he or she can be a client also. Okay. And involved in Scrum methodology. What I can tell, to give the iterative, or to give the sprints in correct time of intervals. Involve spelling is wrong, right? Involve in Scrum methodology to actively provide sprint iterations on time. Something like these are the few roles and responsibilities of product owner in Scrum methodology. Okay. Then the 23rd question will be the what is the role of interesting person? Scrum Master. Something you'll call it as a manager in Agile, but don't call me a manager. Okay, there is a specific name. That's why you call it as Scrum Master. What are the roles of Scrum Master? So he's a person who enables close cooperation between the teams. Okay, and let us see to remove miscommunications between teams and schedules the calls or meetings between the teams. And the person act as shield to his team. So these are the roles and responsibility of a Scrum Master. Okay, the next one is the 24th one. What can you do? Okay, very important. How user points are defined. So now let's see how user points are defined. So in Agile, in order to know if I read the user story, if the know the acceptance of the user story, I need to know whether it is complex user story, easy story, or it takes much time for the user story. That dependency will call it as the user points. With the user points, we can tell the importance, so the criticality or the difficulty of the user story. So what about user points? You know, right? User point is a number that tells the team about the difficulty level. So it is the number that tells, sorry, the team about the difficulty it describes the difficulty level of the user story, which is nothing but I will continue all these things, which is nothing but it will tell that the complex of user story, the difficulty can be calculated, sorry, the difficulty could be, okay, what I given the points, the difficulty could be related to the complexity of the user story, what are the risks we need to have with the user story, and what can efforts, timelines to complete the user story, efforts involved for the user story. Okay, so these are the things we'll do whenever dealing with the user stories by user points. So that's it for the day. In next class we learn more interview questions on manual testing. Okay, thank you.